The dramatic Abbey ruins at Fountains are the largest monastic ruins in England, set in the naturally beautiful Skell Valley. Flanked by two vast expanses of lawn grass, with awe-inspiring cliff faces to either side of the River Skell, running through the valley and under the Abbey. This truly is a beautiful place to visit. The solarium roof has remained intact, and the lay brothers ate, slept and socialised here, beneath the incredible vaulted ceiling which escaped Henry the Eighth's brutal 16th century dissolution of the abbeys. Today, the inhabitants are a protected species of bat who live in the ceiling nooks and only come out after dusk. It is estimated there are over 8 species of bats living in the solarium. The cloisters were used for meditation and exercise by the monks. The cloisters form the centre of the abbey, and many rooms lead off from this area, including the warming room, where you can still see the huge fireplace where a fire was always kept roaring. Above the warming room, up the external staircase, is the muniments room, where the monks kept all their important documents. A dispute and riot at St Mary's Abbey in York led to the founding of Fountains Abbey in 1132. After pleading unsuccessfully to return to the early 6th century rule of St Benedict, 13 monks were exiled and taken into the protection of Thurston, Archbishop of York. He provided them with a site in the valley of the little River Skell, in which they could found a new, more devout monastery. Although described as a place more fit for wild beasts than men to inhabit, it had all the essentials and materials for the creation of a monastery: shelter from the weather, stone and timber for building, and plenty of water. Within 3 years, the little settlement at Fountains had been admitted to the austere Cistercian order founded in France in 1098. Under its rules they lived a rigorous daily life, committed to long periods of silence, and wore the regulation habit of coarse, undyed sheep's wool. Underwear was forbidden, which earned them the name White Monks. One of the Abbey's most important developments was the introduction of the Cistercian system of lay brothers. They were usually illiterate and relieved the monks from routine jobs, giving them more opportunity to dedicate their time to God. Many served as masons, tanners, shoemakers and smiths, but their chief role was to look after the Abbey's vast flocks of sheep, which lived on the huge estate stretching westwards from Fountains to the Lake District and northwards to Teesside. Without the lay brothers, Fountains could never have attained its great wealth or economic importance. By the middle of the 13th century, Fountains Abbey was one of England's richest religious houses, and as well as farming, was mining lead, working iron, quarrying stones and horse breeding. But the seeds of failure lay in the very success of the system. The lay brothers encouraged the monks to extend their estates beyond what was necessary for monastic self-sufficiency. In the 14th century, economic collapse followed bad harvests and Scots raids, and the Black Death exacerbated the effects of financial mismanagement. The community of lay brothers reduced in size. Many of the monastic granges were leased out to tenant farmers, and in the late 15th century, dairy farming replaced sheep farming. Despite its financial problems, Fountains Abbey remained of considerable importance in the Cistercian order. The abbots sat in Parliament, and the abbacy of Marmaduke Hubie, which was from 1495 to 1526, marked a period of revival. Fountains once again flourished, but its life was brought to an abrupt end in 1539 by Henry the Eighth's dissolution of the monastery. The abbot, Marmaduke Bradley, received a pension of £100 per annum. His prior received £8, and 30 monks each received £6. For a few months after the dissolution, the abbey building stood empty in the hope of being the site for the cathedral for a new Dales bishopric. This was not to be, and by 1540 glass and lead from the dismantling of Fountains had found their way to Ripon and York. The buildings and parts of the estate were sold to Sir Richard Gresham, whose family subsequently sold them on to Stephen Proctor, the builder of Fountains Hall. Then the abbey passed through several hands until it came into the possession of the Messenger family. In 1767 it was sold for £18,000 to William Hazelby, who landscaped the abbey ruins as a picturesque folly to be viewed from the water garden.